understand that on the background of this news, we have shellings just every other day in Ukraine. And today, even today, like this day, we have day of mourning because a lot of victims was killed in previous attack. And to see that Russian flags are now welcomed once again by IOC, it's absolutely shameful. And I cannot understand this decision. Again, I believe that we should make a strong stand with other national Olympic committees, with other nations against this decision. And I hope also we will see more visa bans for Russian athletes who are supporting this war. At this time, at this point, we clearly can see that direction towards Russians, and I would say direction to bring back Russians, to welcome them again, to be friends with Russians, even despite the fact that they're supporting war. We have this active direction with Coventry, clearly, and I believe also with Thomas Bach, I wouldn't be disqualified from Olympic Games, and I believe we wouldn't see Russian flags with Thomas Bach. So yeah, it feels like that nature of Coventry's, I would say, career is a dictatorship, and that's what we see now in IOC.
That's pure rhetoric. I mean, sport and politics have always been there, and they'll always be there. We just saw it with the World Cup, where the president of the United States got involved. We see it in Russia. Russia is run by the government. Their sport is totally run by government. The athletes train under government and venues. There's no separation between sport and politics. The IOC uses that only to serve what they want to do. But when you have the president of the IOC meeting heads of states, clearly there's a clear indication that sport and politics are one, and we have to accept that. And that's why the IOC needs to stand strong. And I would hope reverse this decision based on pressure it may receive in the next coming months, because it's simply not acceptable. As I said, nothing has gotten better in Russia. It's only gotten worse. And for some reason, the IOC determines now is a good time to allow them back as full members. It doesn't smell right. It doesn't feel right, and it's simply not right for every athlete out there. I think all the blame and all the everything related to this decision needs to be put onto the IOC. They're the ultimate decision-making authority. This is their event. The Olympics is what they run. So you can speculate, but in the end, they're the adults in the room that have to make the decision. And clearly, they weren't the adults that were informed of what most athletes want. And disappointing to see the new president, Kirsty Coventry, who, a year ago, athletes were excited that their new change was happening. But I think that excitement has been dampened by this decision today. The athletes have been vocal in the past that Russia needs to reform, and until they reform, they should be suspended. And we always said in the past, since this whole thing started in Sochi 2014, the IOC has done everything. Instead of banning Russia, they've just rebranded Russia. And they've really never paid the price for whether it was institutionalized doping, whether it was an invasion of Ukraine, and now with the further information that the Secret Service is involved with running sport, that's government interference. They used to be an organization that held the highest integrity and held countries to the highest standards to be a part of the Olympic movement. The IOC sells itself on Olympic values, on peace, on bringing people together peacefully. This has just created chaos, and it takes away from what the IOC has originally been set up for, to promote peace and to promote a safe competition. And certainly, if you're a Ukrainian athlete, you do not want to compete against a Russian athlete. And there's other athletes out there that don't want to do the same. So it's very hard to understand why this decision was made. It was very easy to see it coming. It was a complete setup during the session where they changed the charter, and to avoid the entire session having to take that on their shoulders to allow Russia back. We always look at athletes trying to stand up and reverse decisions. Governments should play a large role in this, and the European National Olympic Committees and National Olympic Committees that believe this decision is wrong should stand up and demand answers. But we also know what happens when you stand up. You get ostracized and you get cast aside, and you lose your way. So that fear factor is everywhere right now. But the ethics needs to, your moral compass and your ethical decision making needs to put that aside, because everyone is going to be threatened when they're going against Russia or going against the IOC. So this is an opportunity to really dig deep and call for what's right. And what's right is that they maintain a ban, because they said nothing has changed. It's gotten worse.